you ever pause in the middle of an ordinary afternoon and feel something quiet move through you? A realization so gentle you almost miss it. A sentence forming without sound and setting down its weight like a hand on your shoulder. You have come so far. Not because everything went the way you planned, not because the map you drew at 19 survived every storm, but because you kept walking when the weather turned and you learned to repair your boots while still in motion. You have come so far, and still the road ahead asks for more. Think for a moment about the version of you who stood at an earlier crossroads, holding a different set of keys, pockets filled with other names and opportunities. He wondered which door to open and which to leave closed forever. He asked questions that pressed against the ribs like a second heartbeat. Should I stay or should I go? Should I build or should I wait? Should I commit or keep searching? He did not know what you know now. He did not yet carry these scars or these strengths. He did not yet understand that every yes carries a cemetery of no's, that every path demands tribute from the others you will never walk. Do you remember the day you almost quit? Not the dramatic quitting you imagine for films, but the small, quiet quitting of attention and effort. The afternoon where you thought one missed session would make no difference. One unreturned call would cost nothing. One compromise would not echo. You stood on a thin ridge between what you wanted and what was easy. The Valley of Ease is beautiful from far away, and it is a graveyard up close. Somehow you did not descend, or perhaps you did once, and the cold air down there taught you how to climb again. Either way, here you are. The fact of your presence means something truer than any story you tell about it. The phrase comes back like a bell. You have come so far. Let it ring through the rooms of the roads you did not take. Walk those rooms without bitterness. See the life where you moved to that city and never left. See the life where you stayed close to home and became its anchor. See the marriage you declined, the company you never founded, the apology you sent, the apology you swallowed. Let each version approach you as a guest, dressed in your face, carrying a ledger. Some carry balances bright with joy you did not know. Some carry debts you did not pay. Some carry burdens you were spared. Some carry burdens you needed. Do not turn away from them. Ask each of them a single question. What would you have asked of me every day to keep you alive? Then listen to the answer, as if it were weather. Some would have asked you to become quieter. Some would have asked you to become louder. Some would have asked for more risk, some for less. You cannot become all of them. You could only become this one. Søren Kierkegaard said that life can only be understood backward, but must be lived forward. You know the taste of that paradox now. Understanding arrives late, carrying lanterns that do not change the road behind you. But living happens here, where your feet touch stone, and the next step waits for command. Look backward kindly, not to rewrite what happened, not to varnish it, not to tear it to shreds, but to collect what it taught. Then turn your chin toward the horizon that keeps beckoning, because the horizon is not a place you reach. It is the line that reminds you to keep moving. Marcus Aurelius kept a small republic inside his mind, while winter pressed against the canvas of a military tent. He wrote to himself that the obstacle becomes the way, that what blocks the path becomes the path. You have seen this truth carve itself into the grain of your days. The deadline that forced you to prioritize became the reason you discovered focus. The injury that sidelined you taught you to train smarter than before. The heartbreak that emptied a room taught you to furnish the inner rooms with sturdier furniture. It is not romantic to say this. It is simply accurate. The impediment advanced the action. The stone in the road taught your stride to shift. There is a grief in choosing. You carry it without dramatic music, the grief of not being able to live all your possible lives. Sometimes it rises in the strangest places, in the cereal aisle, at a red light, during a lull in conversation with someone you love. It asks you softly if you abandoned a life that would have fit better. It asks you to imagine a doorway that opens to a version of you, less tired, less complicated, more certain. When that grief comes, do not debate it the way you argue online. Do not drown it. Set a chair for it and ask it to speak plainly. It will tell you what it misses. It will name the taste of a road that smelled of pine and looked like a shortcut from far away. Then it will leave when it remembers that you have a different appointment. It is not your enemy. It is the accountant of the soul, and sometimes its numbers are difficult, and sometimes they are simply true. What did the road you chose ask of you today? Not 10 years ago, not in your myths about the person you tell others you are, but today. Did it ask you to get up when you did not want to? Did it ask you to sit down and read when your nerves wanted a screen? Did it ask you to keep your word when your mood tried to renegotiate the contract? Did it ask you to say, "I was wrong," quickly enough to rescue something that matters? The road ahead is not a metaphor as much as it is the exact rhythm of repeated obedience to a mission you wrote on the days you were most honest. If you are between missions, then today asked you to listen more carefully. Listening is work. Quiet is labor. Silence is not absence. It is a forge without flame, where metal still knows what it is becoming. You look at your hands. They have changed in ways you do not notice until light hits them sideways. There are lines there that were not there before, calluses that speak multiple languages, small scars from tools, from kitchens, from believing that you could fix what broke. These are not decorations. They are a topography of effort. When you shake another man's hand, you feel whether he has built anything. When you shake your own hand in the mirror, you must learn to feel the same. It matters less what the world claps for than what your hands remember. The roads not taken have their own weather. They have snow you did not trudge through, heat you did not endure, breezes you did not enjoy. The road you chose has made your lungs the shape they are, has taught your eyes to scan the kinds of horizons it keeps offering, has introduced you to the companions who walk at your speed. Some companions left at the last crossroads because their pace belonged to a different country. Bless them without sarcasm. The road you chose will introduce you to others who are also carving their stride in private, and one day you will recognize each other by the way you tie your boots. You have come so far. What did it cost? Count without flinching. Nights you slept too little. Weekends you worked while others posted photographs from places you could not afford yet. Arguments you could have avoided but needed to have. Moments of boredom where nothing seemed to move and you kept moving anyway. Count also what it gave. Skills that no longer tremble in your hands. A spine that says no without explanation when the soul knows why. A bank account that feeds freedom rather than fragility. A body that has learned the difference between aching because it is growing and aching because it is being neglected. A mind that knows which thoughts are visitors and which are residents. You could leave life right now, Marcus wrote. Let that blunt sentence sharpen your priorities. It is not a threat. It is a filter. If you learned tonight that the remainder of your days would be counted on one hand, What would you change tomorrow? Which calls would you make? Which tasks would you delete? Which hour would you reclaim for building the only thing you can take with you when you leave this workday world, a conscience at peace with its effort? You do not need a crisis to install that filter. You need only a pen, a quiet table, and the courage to write your non-negotiable list as if nobody were watching. Then live as close to it as you can, and adjust it when you discover you were pretending. There are people who will not understand the way you guard your time. They will label your boundaries as cold. They will call your early nights boring. They will call your dawn alarms a performance. Smile and let them talk until the wind takes their words apart. They do not see the road from inside your boots. They do not hear the promises you keep when nobody is around to grade you. They do not feel the way your heart slows in the presence of work that fits your hands. You are not required to submit the minutes of your inner council for public review. You are required to live with their consequences. Ask yourself a dangerous question. If the person you were 5 years ago could see you now, would he feel proud or would he feel betrayed? Not because you owe him obedience forever, but because he trusted you to keep something lit. What did he ask you to protect? What did he ask you to grow? Where did he ask you to be brave? And where did he ask you to be gentle? You are allowed to revise the plan he gave you. You are not allowed to lie to him. If you have, forgive yourself without drama and make an adjustment that can be measured by the calendar, the kitchen, the wallet, the notebook, the weights, the words. Sometimes the road ahead looks like a tunnel. Maybe you do not know if the tunnel curves, if it ends, if there is a second exit. You only know that turning back will cost you more than continuing. In that tunnel, your senses will turn up their volume. You will hear your footsteps. You will hear your breath. You will hear your doubts as if they had microphones. In that space, remember what you control. Remember how to count 4 breaths slowly and discover that panic counts faster, and you do not have to count with it. Remember how to name the next action with a verb and a noun and a time. Send the email by 9. Finish the set before the song ends. Cook the simple meal. Read 3 pages as a tax paid to your future. Go to bed before the day steals tomorrow's attention. These are small orders that keep armies from breaking ranks. Do you notice how the more you honor today, the less the ghosts of unused roads haunt you? Because regret loses power in the presence of effort. The mind cannot hold 2 maps at once with equal intensity. When you are fully inside the work that suits you, when you are sanding the rough edges of your craft, when you are making a body that can carry what your purpose asks it to carry, the other maps fold themselves and wait quietly on a shelf. They will always be there. You do not have to burn them. You simply do not have to consult them while driving. Kierkegaard warned about despair, disguised as busy compliance. Marcus warned about reputation, disguised as virtue. The road ahead punishes both. It is not interested in how you look while you walk. It is interested in how you walk. It does not reward you for a spreadsheet of intentions. It rewards you for the effort that is visible in the way you tie your shoes before dawn, in the way you say no to the invitations that undo your morning, in the way you do not publish every single victory for applause before it has hardened into character. There will be mornings when the weight of your progress feels smaller than the weight of your remaining distance. On those mornings, you will be tempted to measure yourself with gross numbers and lose sight of the beautiful arithmetic of discipline. One day, keeping your word equals one day multiplied by the number of times you keep it again. Compounding happens in lives as much as in accounts. not spectacularly at first. Then suddenly the world treats you differently because you treated your promises differently. People bring you problems that match your calm. Doors open because you kept knocking when nobody could hear you. Opportunities appear, and you recognize them because you trained your eyes not to be fooled by the early disguise of hard work. You have come so far. You owe it to the distance already covered not to sabotage it by adopting the habits of someone who has not traveled. Do not earn wisdom, then ignore it for novelty. Do not collect experience, then trade it for validation. Do not learn patience, then sell it for speed. The road ahead does not ask you to be a new person tomorrow. It asks you to be the person you are becoming, again, today. There will be people on your path whose eyes hold storms you have never walked through. Sometimes you will carry a mile with them. Sometimes they will carry a mile with you. Sometimes all you can offer is one sentence. It gets lighter when your hands get stronger. Sometimes all you can ask is for a seat in the quiet so you can remember your own name. There is no strategy more advanced than kindness delivered without enabling weakness. Carry and be carried, then continue. In the years to come, you will stand at other forks. Some will be painted in neon, some will be quiet as moss. You will feel the old ache rise again. The lives you cannot live will call from their windows. Thank them for the invitation. Then look at your compass, not their balconies. Ask what values you promised yourself to keep voraciously alive. Ask which choice will require virtue rather than flatter your impulses. Ask which option expands your capacity instead of flattering your reputation. The answer will not always be comfortable. That is how you will know it is yours. When you falter, and you will, return to simple ground. Drink water. Move your body. Make your bed. Write down 3 true sentences. The smallest faithful action throws a rope forward into the next hour and gives you something to pull on. You do not have to fix a year in a day. You have to treat a day as if it were worth a year of attention. Enough days like that will do the arithmetic for you. Take inventory now, kindly and ruthlessly at once. What did the last season ask you to build, and did you build it? What weakness became visible, and what plan exists to address it? What strength surprised you, and how will you feed it? Which voice in your head needs to be thanked and retired because it keeps you safe, but also small? Which invitation looks like a gift, but is debt disguised as generosity? Which quiet person nearby is doing the work and deserves a seat closer to your fire? Which noisy habit deserves to sleep outside tonight? Remember the sentence, you have come so far. If you deny it, you insult the hours that brought you here. If you worship it, you freeze in place. If you honor it, you take the next step with gratitude and a sharpened eye. The consequences of the roads not taken will still hum in your bones. Let them teach proportion. Let them teach compassion for others who chose differently. Let them teach you to keep your counsel brief and your labor long. Tonight or tomorrow morning, when the room is still and the world's appetite for your attention sleeps for a few more minutes, sit with a pen and write a single page with 3 lines. Here is what I will keep. Here is what I will release. Here is what I will build next. Keep is the discipline that already fits your hands. Release is the habit that drags your ankles. Build is the road's signature, asking for fresh ink. Tape the page where your eyes will trip over it, not to perform for others, but to remind yourself that the person who writes and the person who walks are the same. And when you rise, rise without ceremony. Lace your shoes, make your bed, drink water slowly. Look out a window long enough to remember you are small enough to be humble and strong enough to be useful. Then go. The roads you did not take will salute you from their distance. The road you walk will keep its promises if you keep yours. You have come so far. The line between here and what remains is not a wall. It is a doorway that opens each time you step toward it with your whole weight. Step again. Step again. Step again. Then rest. Then begin. Then begin again. This is how you forge yourself every day, until one day you look back and realize the person you hoped to meet at the end of the road has been walking beside you for miles, quietly, patiently, becoming real each time you chose the next honest step.